Coming up on The Talk, eco-zealots bring chaos to the capital with more slow marches before police put an irate driver in handcuffs. Boris Johnson hits the headlines as he's referred to police over new lockdown-breaking claims. And hold on to your hat. It's been revealed the average cost of attending a wedding has soared to £1,000. That's all coming up at 9.
OK.
Welcome back to Piers Morgan Uncensored. I'm joined by the political journalist Ava Tina and Talk TV presenter Richard Tice. Right.
Nice.
Have you sinned, either of you?
Every day, Piers.
I mean,
every day. Come
where
on.
do we even start with you, Tice? Actually, and you. And me.
And you.
We're all doomed.
What do you mean by that? We're all doomed.
What did you make of that interview?
I mean, I grew up in a Catholic household.
Yeah, I did.
And I don't know anyone who acts that fundamental about anything. And, you know, when I read the headline this morning and we heard about, you know, him...
And you feel instinctively quite sympathetic, I think. Most people you wouldn't, obviously, because you're woke as hell.
No, OK, well, I read it and I knew immediately there's got to be so much more to this. There's no way he's just, you know, slightly mispronounced.
And there is a lot more to it.
OK, I'm listening. You have my attention.
Yeah.
The more I spoke to him and got out of him, the more extreme his views became, right?
I mean, the reality is, on the pronouns thing, he's right. OK.
Yeah.
Well,
You know, it just that is not the right way to be teaching and addressing people in schools.
what is he doing?
There's no question.
Do you mean using the wrong pronouns? Isn't
No,
the right way
using-
to
Yeah, but when you've got 10% of kids now in some schools identifying as something other than their biological
that's a
sex,
farce,
at that point, it is ridiculous to expect
it's-
teachers to even try and keep up with this madness, right?
Appointment is immeasurable.
It's insane. It's a fact.
Insane.
It's a fact.
absolutely
It's like 10 of them are doing it, I'm going to do it. It's honestly.
But that doesn't matter.
You don't believe for a moment that 10% of students in this country have dysphoria, do you? You
I
don't.
do think that transphobia is where homophobia was about 10 years ago, maybe 20 years ago.
It's an issue of
I do,
safeguard.
and I think that people...
It's unnecessarily
It's not
causing
transphobia.
anxiety.
We're not actually
to
talking about
children
trans.
who
It's not a
should be-
These aren't actually.
safeguarding issue.
These aren't
It
actually.
is a
It's
safeguarding.
not
No,
a
'cause-
pronoun issue. That pronouns aren't a safeguarding issue. I understand if a child might be going off to seek some sort of therapy and you need to let the parents know. I understand that.
Encouraging
But
the
if
discussion of
but if
gender
someone's
questioning
asking,
in primary school.
By the way, and do you
is a
know why
safeguarding
trans people are having to put up with extra mockery?
OK, I'm listening. You have my attention.
And I feel very strongly about this. That proper trans people who are not just doing it for a fad, but genuinely believe they're trapped in the wrong body. Many of them have surgery and so on. I know people who've been through this. It's an incredible ordeal they go through.
What do you mean by that?
When they hear a leader of a political party like Sir Ed Davey of the Liberal Democrats saying this is what causes the problems.
We need to manage this and think about it and debate it with a bit more maturity and a bit more compassion.
Well, that's what Sir Keir Starmer once said to me, and he never did answer the question, can a woman have a penis?
What?
Well, I've just answered that question.
They can.
Listen, I've made it really clear that if people, the vast majority of people will have the same gender as their biological sex, but a small number won't.
So a woman can have a penis?
Well, quite clearly.
I think you gave a perfectly good answer there.
Quite clearly,
Perfectly
women
good
can have
answer.
penises.
I think you can. You ask a reductive question and you get a reductive answer.
Quite
I mean,
clearly,
yeah,
women
It's
can
a
have
biological
penises.
question which demands a biological answer. OK. And he's completely wrong and he wants
if
to be
it's-
the leader of the country. It's absurd.
No,
You don't believe women have penises?
I do believe that some trans women can have penises.
Not trans
I
women,
do.
women.
Stop it. Get some help.
No, come on, don't be so reductive with that question.
It's not reductive.
Because
It's
if I answer that question...
This is why women's sport is being destroyed.
No, it's not.
Because people will not distinguish between trans women and women.
Okay.
Wait for it.
Okay, right, well,
You
look...
cannot damage biology. You cannot deny biology. You just can't do it. And political leaders say clearly women have penises. You know what happens? Trans people, real trans people, they get mocked and they get vilified for it.
Come on now, dog.
That's
is your
what increases
definition of a real
transphobia.
trans person? Perhaps
People
Ed
who
Davey
genuinely do feel they're trapped in the wrong body.
Perhaps Ed Davey is referring to real trans people who feel they are trapped in the wrong body.
But
That's
they
who
are a
he's
trans
talking
person.
about.
They're
I
not
mean,
a woman, Ava.
Listen, it's the same...
biologically impossible.
Why, as a woman, are you not keen to protect women's rights to be women?
What is he doing? I don't think it affects my rights whatsoever. What does affect my rights is
You've
that
got
this
male
country...
rapists being put in female prisons.
Hang on, Piers.
You've got male sprinters and swimmers
And
and cyclists destroying biological females at sport. What more evidence do you need?
None of that is a threat to me. Do you know what is a threat to me? The fact that I can't walk home at night safely. The fact that I know that 1% of rapes reported go to conviction.
Different issue.
It's not a different issue. Because you're arguing that men are dangerous and they shouldn't be in women's spaces.
Boy.
That's what I agree with.
I've got no problem with coming with you on that journey to make places safer for women. You don't make places safer for women by allowing male rapists into women's prisons.
What?
Because they go, ta-da, I'm a woman. It's bullshit. Anyway, let's agree about one thing before we finish, which is that there is one great woman in this country.
Okay.
In fact, after the Queen's very sad death, there's one left, in my estimation, other than my mother, obviously, and it's Dame Joan Collins, the magical Dame Joan, who today turned 90 years old. Probably won't thank me for reminding her, but she looks about 50, certainly younger than me. Happy birthday, Dame Joan. You are a proper woman.
What do you mean by that?
And we salute you on this show. Thank you, Pac. We can agree on that, right?
We can agree on that. Remarkable. We all want to be that.
I'll tell you who does keep it uncensored. Joan Collins. That woman. Glory! Fact.
My What the Farage moment concerns the royal family and, of course, Meghan Markle. Remember, she moved off to the west coast of America because she wanted a quieter life. Quite why, then, in that regard, she goes on doing major interviews, I just don't know. The latest one, a 6,400-word piece with an American magazine based in New York. And one of the revelations is that she met a South African man who told her that they danced in the streets and rejoiced when Meghan married into the royal family, just as they did when Nelson Mandela was released from prison. I don't think we've ever come across anybody in any walk of life, let alone the royal family, with such an over-inflated sense of her own worth and self-importance as Meghan Markle. And it's pretty clear from this interview she doesn't intend to stop talking. So much of what she says is completely and utterly untrue. The damage she and her husband are doing to the Queen and to the royal family is absolutely incalculable. I do think, not just here, but in America too, people are beginning to wake up. These two self-obsessed hypocrites, liars, are in the end going to be ignored by everybody. At least I hope and pray so.